Hi, good morning, everybody. Today we start with EAB, that is Enterprise Integration Builder. So, with the EAB, we'll be seeing creating a new integrations, both inbound and outbound integrations, by using Enterprise Integration EAB, Enterprise Integration Builder. Okay. So, So, as I discussed, there are different tools to create integrations. The first one is EAB and Core Connected, Document Transformation, and Workday Studio. These are the four tools we use to create both inbound and outbound integrations in Workday system. So, first we start with EAB, that is Enterprise Integration Builder. To create a new integration using EAB, so we need to type a task called create EAB in the search box. Create EAB in the search box. So this is the first step we do when creating integrations through EAB. Okay. The task name is create EAB here. So we need to provide a name here, some name for the EAB name, our integration name. Usually we create with int001 some name. Okay, extract personal data, extract personal data, something we give it. So INT stands for integration. And 001, 003, we give some number here. Okay, this is the real time. Real time. So we give these names. INT starts with INT 001, 002. So likewise, if there are 100, like INT 100, INT 101, like that, we go with this number. Okay. So for now, I'm just giving some name here to identify RD16. Let me select a simple EAB here, simple EAB integration. So here there are two types here again. One is inbound, the other one is outbound here. So if it is an inbound integration, we need to choose this option. If it is an outbound integration, we choose this option. Okay. So first let's go with starts with the outbound. So we have created a custom report, right? So we can use that custom report as a data source here and send these results to external system or SFTP system here. Okay. So I choose an outbound integration for this one. Click on OK. So there are 5 steps here. Okay. One is general settings. Next is get data section. Third one is transformation. Fourth one is delivery. Finally, it is summary. So summary is nothing but a summary of our 4 sections will available. There is no specific actions we take in the summary. It's just a combination of all four. It will show in a single page here. Okay. So for every integration EAB, all these 5 steps will be common. Like whether it's an inbound integration or it's an outbound integration. These are the 5 steps we need to configure to create an EAB integration here. So now let's start with general settings section. What are the options available? Under general settings, we see name. This is the name of our integration. Okay, RD16 simple EAB. If you want to change this name, you can change it. Okay, RD16 EAB, or it will be editable. If you can click on this one, you can save it. Similarly, for all EAB, there is an ID will be created for integration. So this is almost it is similar to our EAB integration name. Integration name. So if you want to change an ID, you can click on this option. You can edit and change it. Okay. So, but usually we keep it as it is, like whatever it is generated by based on the integration name, it automatically takes some name here for ID. So we don't choose change it. Okay. So this is ID and both integration name both are similar. Both are identical or similar here. So next thing is description here. So in the description we can provide some comments. What is the purpose of this integration we created? Okay. So to whom we are sending this file. So that summary we can provide here. Okay, this is okay. This is an employee data demographic file or something, and it is going to so and so vendor. So we just provide that some comment information here to identify, to briefly describe about this integration. To someone who doesn't know about this integration, if they read this, so they can understand what this integration will do by providing some comments here. Okay. This we fill in the general data section. Okay. So once general data section is completed, let we'll go to next section, that is get data here. So get data, how this integration will get data, because this is an outbound integration. It has to get some information from Workday to deliver it to external system, to deliver into downstream system or a third party system. So how are we going to get data from Workday? That is the option here getting here. Get data is nothing but getting data from Workday here. So how are we getting data? There are two options here. So data source type is a custom report or a web service. There are two data sources we get data from Workday. So one is custom report. Okay. So in the last previous classes we created a custom report. There is advanced type custom report. So we use that custom report here as a data source to extract data from Workday system. Okay. So since it's an outbound, we will be going to extract data and send to third party system. And there are two ways to extract data. One is custom report, another one is web service. We talk about web service in later classes. Okay, first we choose the custom report here. Since we created a custom report in the previous class, we make this custom report as a data source and build our integration system here, EAV integration. So I know I selected my data source here, custom report here. I need to select my data custom report. What is a custom report I created? I need to select it here. Okay. Let's start with RD16. So it is not showing here. What is the reason it's not? So we have created a custom report that starts with, the name starts with RD16, but it is when I type here, it's not showing that custom report. Okay. Uh, the reason could be we haven't enabled the web service here. Okay, I'm going to open a new window here. So to see our custom report here, we need to make sure we enable the web service option there. So we go to advanced report. Okay, advanced tab on the report. There should be an option to enable the report as a web service enabled. So let me select. Let me select this one. In the advanced tab, we have a website enable as a web service option here. Enable as a web service. Okay. So we need to enable this option, then only we can search it. So let me edit this. And also this report is showing expired on 7/29/2018. I wanted to copy this report as a new one so that I can make use of it. I'm going to copy this. So advanced report, I can say like, let it be copied. I go to advanced tab here. There is an option called enable as web service. Enable as web service. I need to check this option. So this will automatically populate the version name, the current API version name, and namespace. So this namespace we use it here. Okay, let me select. We want to remove this. Okay, this is the namespace we're going to use. Click on OK here. Save it. It is throwing some three errors here. What is? Let's see what is this. So remove the currency symbol from the options column. Remove the currency symbol from the options column. Okay. So when we enable this report, this currency symbol, show currency symbol here in the column, is not supporting here. So we need to remove the currency symbol, the fields which we have selected. For total base pay analyzed amount and some other two more fields, we have chosen the show currency symbol here. I'm just going to remove this. Okay, click on OK. Now it gets saved. So this is my custom report name. Okay. Uh, Now let me remove the old one. This is the old one and this is my copied one. I'm going to delete this, the old one, to not to show too many reports here. Okay, I'm going to delete this. So I rename it as again edit this the copy one. I just remove the copy underscore copy at the end. So now I get my report got extended to few more days here. Like if you see, it is extended to 8/5/2018. Okay, so usually we don't we have this problem, like since we can generate it, this currently it is a temporary report, we can generate a permanent report as well, but these settings, the tenant settings is not allowing to create a permanent reports here. Okay, we can usually create a permanent report as well as a temporary report. Okay, so to as a temporary solution, I just extended by I copied it, the old one. So I extended my the expiry date again till 8/5/2000 because it was expired yesterday. So I just again extended by copying into a new name, uh, copying this custom report into a new name, and I saved it. Okay, that is the reason only I'm doing this all options, since it's a temporary report. Okay, now I have created, and you see it is enabled as a web service now. It is yes. So this is 31. But this is the web namespace of this custom report. Now I go back to my integration system here. My data source. Current data source is a custom report. Now I can search my data so custom report here and select it. Okay. So this is my RD16 personal data advanced. So this is only visible here when we make this as a web service enabled. In the advanced tab, we can make this as a web service enabled. Then only we can see this option. So this is a custom report. Data source as a custom report. Custom report name we have to provide here. Okay. And detail section, let's see what is there. Usually it will generate an output in XML format. Okay. So that is the default output of this ABs or whatever its workday is, XML format. It will give an XML output file. If you want to change it to alternate like the CSV, GData, JSON, RSS, simple, we can choose this option. Okay. If you don't choose anything and leave it blank, it will be Workday XML. Workday XML. Let's see. Let it be. I don't choose any option here. It will generate an output file with the XML output. It will, because this custom report will, since we are enabled this as a web service option, we have options to choose these many output types. Okay, but there are some DAT file, text file, .txt file, comma separated files. So these forms you have the options not available. Okay, so Workday has given these options, so we can without any making any changes or coding. So this, if you want to choose JSON output file, you can click on JSON. If you want to choose GData output file, you can choose. If you want to see CSV, you can choose it. If you don't choose anything, by default it will generate an XML Workday XML output file. So currently I'm not giving anything, so it will generate a Workday XML output file that will be sent to external system. Okay. So this is the general data get data section here. Once we choose all these options, custom report, custom name, then we can click on next button here. So next button, which will take us to transform section here. transform section. So there are different types of transformations available. Okay. This transformation is to transform data from one file, one format to another format. Okay. So one format to another format. If you suppose I have XML output, I want to transform into CSV file or text file or pipe delimiter file or a dot dat file. So we can use this transformation here actually. But if you don't want to choose any transformation, okay, if you don't want to choose any transformation, let's say I want to send the output file given by custom report. Okay, as it is I want to send. I don't want to make any changes, any transformation. The XML, the custom report which I choose in the previous section, okay, it will generate an output file. The output file I need to, as it is, send to downstream system. In that case, I don't need to choose any transformation here. Let it be none. But if there are different transformations, one is uh, none. Second is custom report transformation. Third one is custom transformation. Okay, this is nothing but custom report transformation. These are the five. The first related to first one only. The third one is related to first one. But actually, we can use when we are creating this, when we are creating first time, when we are creating the integration. First time we choose this option. New custom report transformation. The later on onwards we choose custom report transformation. So both are same here. Uh, okay. Now we can see three here. One is none, custom report transformation, and custom transformation. Okay. We see all these transformations one by one. For now, let's see what's none here. What by choosing the none, how we generate the output file and send can be sent to third party system. So we are not applying any transformation here. Like as it is, the custom report, whatever the output file it generates, and it extract data from Workday. The custom report will extract data from Workday. So the same output we send to downstream system. So when you choose a none, transformation is none, the same output will be delivered to external system here. Okay. So now I choose the transformation type is none. We'll see the other types in the later. Click on next button here. It will come to delivery section. So here we can mention to whom I need to deliver the file, to whom I need to deliver the file to system. It may be I may need to deliver the file to downstream system here, that is external system, the outbound downstream system, or third party system, whoever it is called, a vendor. So all the whom I need to deliver this output file, we need to declare in the delivery section here. Okay. Let's see, by default it's a workday attachment. That means output file will be attached as a workday attachment, and it can be found in the integration. When you run the integration, we can see in the process monitor there. Okay. So by default it's a workday attachment. There are different types of output delivery methods available. SFTP, that is called Secure File Transfer Protocol. So this is the one kind of protocol to send the deliver the output file to third party system in a secured way or securable way here. So this is FTP, and FTP is again a protocol here, that is file transfer protocol. Okay, there are different types of protocols here: FTP, HTTP, SSL, email, AES2 are existing. Uh, use any existing delivery method. If there is any existing delivery method available, we can choose it here. So usually 99% we use here delivery is going to secure FTP. That is, this is the latest and protocol, and we use these are the older ones that which you do not have some security during the transmitting the file. But many of the times, 99% they use SFTP here. That is secure file transfer protocol to deliver the files to external system. So sometimes we may need to send email. We can also send email, but this is not secured way to send the files to downstream, but because email can be not a secured format. Anybody can access it. Okay, who received it, they can maybe misuse those output files. If we choose a secure SFTP, so in a secured way we will be sending the files to downstream system here. So let's see how we can choose SFTP configuration here. So delivery method is SFTP. Okay, that is secure file transfer protocol. SFTP address we need to provide. Let's say I want to send this output file to a vendor. Okay, vendor is somewhere having some server names. Vendor contains server names here. Okay, vendor or third party system or downstream system we have some SFTP address here. Okay, that is their IP address where we want to send the file. They will have some IP address, the server IP address. So we need to provide that IP address here. Let's say I'm giving some dummy name here to just configure this. SFTP colon. I'm giving some IP address here. Okay, this is the IP address of the vendor I want to send the file. Okay, this is the IP address of the vendor I want to send the file. Suppose if you want to send this output file to Fidelity or ADP or some MetLife, so those that company's IP address we need to provide here. Okay, but I do not have some any sample IP address. I'm just giving a dummy. Anyway, it will not deliver the files to this IP address because it's not a valid IP. So just to configure this, I'm giving some dummy ID here. Okay, the directory where the file should be placed. Okay, the directory or the path. Once we connect to the server, vendor server, so on this server there are too many folders available. Okay, too many subfolders. Inside them there are again directories available. So where we want to exactly send this file, which directory or which folder I want to place my output file, so that I can provide in the directory section here. Okay, let's give some directory as birthday. So this is the file directory path from on the vendor SFTP server. Okay, so there is a directory called workday folder, and under that there is an inbound folder is available. Okay, let's see, there is an inbound. We will be sending our output file to this inbound folder there. Okay, once we connect to this SFTP server and vendor side, we navigate to this workday file and inbound directory, and our output file will be placed under inbound directory. So they can use this file and we can process it. Okay, so once we run this integration, the output file will be placed into this inbound folder and the vendor SFTP server. Vendor server. Okay. To connect to SFTP, vendor has to provide some authentication method. Okay, they have to just not like anybody can connect to their server, place the files. Okay, it's again a secure. Okay, they have to provide, a vendor has to provide authentication methods here to connect either to user ID and password. Usually we will connect through user. There are different methods here: authentication method, dual authentication, SSH authentication by username and password. So usually we connect with username password here. Okay, so vendor will provide as a username password to connect this SFTP server because this is their SFTP server. So we want to connect that SFTP server and place the file to their system. That's why they provide some user ID password to for us. Okay. So when your requirements and we are generating an outbound file to some vendors, during the requirements phase or something, we need to ask all this information, which is the server we need to place the file. If they usually provide it, if in case they won't provide, we can ask them like which server we need to provide, send the file, or which directory we need to place the file, what is the connection methods to this SFTP. Okay, we can get this information and we can configure during the development here. Okay, let's say I'm providing some dummy name here. Username is RT16 SFTP. So username and password also when we get it from vendor here. Okay, let's see, I give some sample password here, dummy password, because it's a required field. The output file name. Next is output file name. What is the file name of this output? We need to copy here. I'm just giving the same here. Copy text. The integration name is also giving the output file name here. But we can give a, as per the vendor, whatever that they want, the output file name should be. So we need to give the same output file name. For example, let me select here dot XML. Okay, because this will generate an XML file. Okay, my output file name is XML. rd16 simple underscore ab.xml. This is my output file name. Okay, when I run this integration, an output file with this name will be generated. Okay, that output file will be delivered to this SFTP server and this directory. That is what delivery sections here shows. So there is one more option, document retention policy here. Document retention policy. So this is nothing but the number of days we want to store this output file in Workday system. Okay, usually up to 180 days we can store this output file. We can store this output file in Workday system up to 180 days. Once after that, it automatically deleted. Okay, our output file will be automatically removed from the Workday. Okay, that is the purpose we choose a document retention policy. Like how long we want to retain this document in a Workday system. Okay. So this is up to one maximum of 180 days we can mention. Suppose if you want to 90 days, we want to store this file in one day. The output file of this integration we want to store, you can provide 90 days. Or else I want to store this file for a month, you can choose a 30 days here. Likewise, you can choose up to 180 days. It means this output file will be accessible or downloaded, can be downloaded from Workday for up to 180 days. Okay, even though we send this file to third party system or external system, we can still retain this file for 30 days. Anytime we can go and download this output file up to 30 days here. The maximum number we can provide is 180 here. So let's see detail section what is there. So sequence generator for file name. Okay, we talk this later, sequence generator and this one. File type we don't need to mention because we already mentioned the file type is XML here. Suppose if you want to choose a file type, CSV, HTML, Microsoft Excel or text file, we can choose it here in this option. If you want to compress this file, okay, I want to make it zip and send it. Currently it is XML file. If you want to compress it, it will be zip actually. So compress and send it. You can choose this option, compress equal checkbox. And also you can encrypt the files. Like there are files can be encrypted. .pgp encryption will be there. If you want to encrypt the file, you can choose encryption options here and choose it. Okay, there are different types of encryption options. PGP certificate where we usually mostly use it. Okay, so we can choose encryption. We need to provide this other additional information. Okay, how to, what is encrypted file name and all those things. PGP encryption, maybe we talk about this encryption later. This is a PGP encryption. Okay, so currently the file name is output file name is .xml. We can, if you want to PGP encrypted, so it will be again like .pgp. So PGP is like what kind of another layer, kind of securable transformation here. Okay, so how what it will do? It will be when we choose a PGP encrypted, we will be created one user ID password there. Okay, so we need to send this password or share this password to vendor. Okay, they have to use that password to decrypt it. Okay, so when we encrypt it, a password will be given to a vendor to decrypt the file and process it. Okay, so in this way we can provide more securable files to vendor. Okay? PGP encryption or something like that. So we talk about PGP encryption later. Restricted to environment. The other option is restricted to. We have different options here. These are nothing but environments are tenants. Okay, instances. Okay, we have implementation instance, we have production instance, we have sales, we have sandbox testing, and conversion testing. So these are the list of instances Workday will provide us. Okay, so only 99% cases we will only be getting access to implementation, production, and sandbox. Three instances we will be getting. Maybe during implementation, and they may give another additional testing here, sales uh, and conversion testing. But usually there will be only three tenants they'll be giving to us. One is implementation tenants to implement the integrations or something, implement the project. So in the sandbox instance, we do um, both SIT and UAT. Both SIT and UAT can be done in the sandbox section. So once it is tested, we will be deploying our changes to production. So usually there are three instances. Okay. So we can choose these instances. Which instance this delivery should be available. Let's say I just select production instance here. Okay, whatever I configured in this delivery section, okay, whatever I configured this SFTP section here, this is only applicable to production environment here. Production environment. Okay. Let's say if suppose I run this integration in the implementation tenant, this deliveries options will not be applicable because I made this is restricted. These options, the delivery options only restricted to production tenant. Okay, this will applicable when I run this integration in production. That means the output file will be delivered to this server. Okay, when I run this integration in sandbox or implementation, it will not deliver it. Currently, I haven't configured any file or to sandbox or implementation. It will not deliver to anybody here. Okay. So that means this is restricted to production instance alone. Okay. This configuration, SFTP configuration, is restricted to production instance alone. Okay. Now let's see. We can add some more instances for. Let's say click on OK. It will be saved. So that means this this in configuration I done for production. Let's say I can add one more delivery step here. Okay, one more delivery method. Let's say workday attachment this time. I need to provide some name here. Let's say eib dot underscore eib dot xml document retention policy 30 days I can mention. This time I'll make it to both sandbox and implementation tenant. Let's say implementation tenant. Now let's save it. So in this method, in this delivery method, I have created two delivery methods here. One is for production instance, and another is for implementation and tenant instance here. Okay. So with this configuration, so if I deploy, I can deploy these two sandbox production wherever I want. Okay, based on this configuration delivery method, it will act. Okay, when I'm running this method, when I running this integration in production, so this production instance will be applicable. Okay, this SFTP and all whatever the configure for production instance, it will be take effective. Okay, when I run the same integration in sandbox or in implementation tenant, so this it will take a workday attachment as a delivery method. Okay, it will not take the other one SFTP because this is configured to implementation and sandbox tenants. Okay, this delivery method is configured to implementation. The other delivery method is configured to production tenant. Likewise, when I click on add n number of delivery methods here, n number of delivery methods for example, for production instance, one delivery. For implementation instance, I can make another delivery here. Okay. Likewise, I can make multiple delivery methods here. Based on the configuration, it will act upon. Okay. So when I run this in implementation configuration will be taken. When I run this in production configurations will be taken here. Okay. So that's what here in the delivery method we can choose multiple delivery options here. So once I configure the delivery, I can click the next button to view the summary here. No, the summary is nothing but all four steps we can view in one place. Okay, general data section, get data section, transformation, and delivery. All three steps, all four steps we do in the summary section here. Okay. Now let's see. This is the. If you want again edit, click on edit and change it. You can here you can click this button and change it. For all sections, we have this option, edit button, and choose. Now click on OK and to come to our integration here. Now let's see, this is my integration I created. It's a simple integration. It uses a custom report as a data source. Okay, it uses a custom report as a data source, and this is my custom report name. This means hyperlink means you can open and create any open it. Okay. Wherever you see hyper, you can see, like I can click and right click and open in a new window. It will, the custom report will open in a new window there. Okay. This is our custom report I just created. This is my custom report name, and in the detail section we have to choose two delivery options here. Okay. One is production. This is the SFTP I configured. Okay. So when the integration runs in production, it will take these configuration methods here, delivery methods, and trigger the output file. This is my output file. It will be sent to this SFTP server and this directory when I run the integration in production. When I run the integration in sandbox or implementation, it, it's our file name and it just work the attachment. Okay, an attachment will be generated and the attachment will be available in the integration system here. So we can download that attachment up to 30 days here. 30 days. Even the for in production it can be available for 30 days. This is the document retention policy here. Okay, document retention. So let's see, this is my integration. We can go and run this integration now. To run the integration, click on action. So, okay, so this, since it is an implementation tenant, when I run the integration, delivery option is applicable for is this one. Okay, when it is an implementation tenant or when it is a sandbox tenant, it is going to be this one. This is this one here. Now I go to run this integration here. So go to actions, integration system, launch or schedule integration. This is the option. When you click on launch or schedule, it will take us to this window, okay, where the integration name available and run frequency. Run frequency is run now, and different frequencies available. Run once in a future, minute recurrence, hourly recurrence, daily recurrence, weekly recurrence, monthly recurrence, and dependent. Okay, these are the other options to run this integration or schedule this integration. Mostly we use these all other options to schedule the integration. Suppose I want to schedule this integration to run on daily once. Okay, we can choose a daily recurrence, or I want to run this integration once in a week. I can choose this. Once in a month, I can choose this option and schedule the integration. So every month it will be run as per the schedule time. Okay, we talk schedule later. Okay, now let me run this integration here by choosing the run option now. Okay, click on OK. So this is the launch parameter section. Okay, integration criteria launch parameter section. Basically, we used here a custom report. Our report name is RD16 personal data advance. And this is our report name. Okay. So how are we generating this output file is by running that report, this report actually. What this integration will do is it actually go and execute the report, and whatever the field names or criteria, filter criteria we choose in the custom report, it will be applicable, and it generates an output in the XML format. Basically, with this integration, we are running the custom report and generating the output file here. Okay. But this report has two prompt values we have provided. One is hire date, employee hire date, and the other one is dependent age here. So that means it is asking which employee, which is the hire date I want to run this. Okay. Let's see. Uh, Hire date we provided somewhere 112015. Okay. I want, this is a prompt values we will be providing to custom report here. This custom report having two prompt values. That means runtime values we have to provide. One is high date and dependent days, the runtime values. At the same values I need to provide here. Okay. High date is in the filter condition. Again, high date is in the main filter condition. Dependent is in the sub-filter condition. There are two filters in a custom report. One is filter and sub-filter. So whatever you do filter provided here, it is applicable to worker business object, and whatever the sub-filters we provide, that will be applicable to independent business object here. Okay, we made a filter condition to choose employees whose height date is less than or equal to the date we provided here. Okay, to choose employees, pick the employees. Okay. Similarly, if the dependent age is less than or equal to 30, then only we are filtering the employees here. Okay. These two values parameters I need to provide here because this report uses these two parameters. Okay. This will automatically come based on the report which you selected. In the EAB, we selected this report RD16 personal data advanced as a custom report there, okay, as a data source. So these fields will be coming from the custom report. I need to populate these two fields here. Let's see, there are other two fields here: file name and document retention policy. File name and document retention policy we already choose in the configuration of the EEB when we are configuring and the delivery section. Okay, we have given some file name, that is integration name dot rd16 underscore simple underscore eab dot xml. That is the file name we given. If you want to choose a different file name, you can go or else specify value, or else use system defaults, means whatever we configure it will take. If you want to override the file name or you want to choose a different file name, you can choose a specify value and we need to provide this value. What is the file name here? Let's see, some name like test or something dot xml. In this case, the file name which I mentioned there will be overridden. Okay, which the file name which I mentioned there is overridden and it will be taking the file name as this one. Okay, since we have option here to override, but we don't usually select it, we just use system default. Once we configure the file name, we can use system defaults, means whatever is configured it will take. Similarly, document retention policy is to retain the file, for how many number of days. So currently in the configuration we choose 30 days here. 30 days. Okay. We want to specify a different retention policy for this entire. We can mention 90 days or something if you want. We can choose it here. Okay. Otherwise, we can use system default. That will means this output file will retain in the system up to 90 days here. 90 days or 30 days. So this way we can choose these options. Those are optional. If you want to choose it, we can choose it. Otherwise, we can use system defaults here. Use system defaults. Now click on OK to run this integration. Click on refresh. This is now it is running. So this status is processing now. Okay. Currently it is processing. Click on refresh button to run the integration. Now it shows the status is completed. There are different tabs available here. Okay. Integration tab, integration details tab, where you see parent event, integration event name, integration system name, what is our integration system name, who run this integration, at what time we run the integration. Run as user is nothing but this integration will be running by user D Cooper or David Cooper. And any messages it will show integration completed successfully. Okay. Now it shows completed, and it took the time. Processing time is 4 seconds here. Okay. The process info tab, again same schedule start if it is a schedule. Okay, or in the manual run, when is the integration started, when is it completed. Okay, submitted by actual completed data, total processing time you can see in the process info tab. Okay. Process history tab, you can see last 5 digits of 5 numbers of the integration when it can completed. Okay, suppose if we run this is a daily recurrence or something, so it will run once in a per day. Okay, let's see, it is running from last 1 month. It's running from last 1 month, like how many times it runs is it runs once in a daily, that means it is 30 times it will run. Okay, when if it is run 30 times it will show in the integration history table last 5 integrations it will run. That means last 5 days the events, what is the event name, what is the integration name, when it is completed, total one row will be created. This is nothing but a last 5 recurrence history, 5 integration history here. How many, when the last 5 integrations run here. Okay. Same integration can run by multiple times. So last 5 integrations shows here. Okay. So in the process history tab, in the output tab, we can see the output here. Okay. This will generated an output, that is RD16 XML output file here. Okay. The message tab, if there are any messages, it will show here. What is the data source size for this EAB 233 KB here? This output file name having contains 233 KB data. Okay. In the child process tab, there are any child processes, it will show here. Let's see, this currently it's an integration event is a child process here. This integration is a child process. Whenever we run this integration, it will generate one integration event here. Okay, one integration event. This is called nothing but enterprise integration event. This stores all the parameters actually. When you click on this, okay, it will stores all the parameters whatever we choose. Okay, what is the hire date we choose it. When I run this integration, I choose an employee hire date, right? This is the hire date, it choose it. This is the age, if we choose it here. This means launch parameter will be stored here in this one. For every integration, one event will be generated automatically. That event stores all output files, input parameters, whatever we choose. Okay, any other information, any other information. Okay, so this is the output we generated. Let me download this output. And open in Oxygen here. Let's see. You need to before you need to install an Oxygen here. Okay. Oxygen is a tool, XML developer tool here. Oxygen. You can search in Google, and a trial version of 50 days will be 15 days will be available. It will a passcode will be generated to you. Okay. Passcode will be generated to email. Okay. uh, you can use that passcode or license code, and you can install this Oxygen. So it's we use this Oxygen OXYGN XML developer. Okay, Oxygen is XML developer here. So you can install it. Probably you can use open these files using XML and XSLT files in the Oxygen here. I'm just opening this file in the Oxygen. Okay, it is opening now. So the formatted files can be used. The same file when I use in the Oxygen, it will show as a different. Okay, this is my report actually. So same file I can use in Notepad as well. Let's see Notepad. Let me open in the Notepad. So in the Notepad, we cannot read easily this XML and Oxygen files. We cannot read easily in the Notepad. So if you see in the Oxygen, it will be well formatted here. I can click on this button to format. Okay, usually it will be like this, something unformatted option. Okay, we can format it this button to format it. Okay, it will be readable format. Let's see. You can see our data will be stored in report entry, company ID, employee ID, worker status, first name, last name. Okay, first name, last name, and marital status, hire date. For each employee, each report entry contains one employee data here. Okay, let's see. You can see n number of report entries here. When I hide this option, it will come each employee report data. Okay, that means each report entry will store one employee data here. Let's see from here to here, it belongs to one employee data here. So all data belongs to one company ID, employee ID, worker status, last name, first name, high date, difference between high date and date of birth. Okay, probation and date constant, date number constant, high date formatted. Okay. Many of them are our calc fields also there. Okay, calc fields we created, right? Let's see. We created a constant here. Okay, concatenate calc field, that is called first name, last name, and middle name. We gave some name here. So Colin hyphen Dranke slash married. Okay, this is a concatenate calc field here. We have used concatenate calc field, and it will be stored here. Let me open my report here. Okay, go to columns tab. So whatever you see here, whatever you see field names, company ID, employee ID, worker status, these are coming from column heading override XML alias. This fields. Okay. When we uh, when we make this as a web service enable, that time only we can see this option. Column heading override XML alias. Okay. This is the field names we generate in the XML file. Okay. Uh, for example, RD16 concatenate. It will be the title for this RD16 concatenate field is FNL underscore LN underscore MS. That is what it shows here. Okay. FNLNMS. This means a concatenate option here, and a concatenate RD16 concatenate value it will be stored under this field. Okay. Similarly, we can see difference high date of birth. Okay, this is what is this means. Difference I date underscore date of birth. It is date difference field. RD60 date difference calculated field value. It will be showing up as alias names, alias column heading override XML alias. When it is in XML file, this will be taken as a heading here. Okay. Likewise probation end date. We choose probation end date is RD16 concatenate increment date function, and we rename it as a probation end date here. Column heading override option, it will be taken probation end date. So it will show here. Date constant, number constant. These are the calc fields we have used. But the calc field names here is so RD date constant, number constant. These are the XML. This is the original field names RD16 date constant. This is the XML field names, alias field names here. When you generate this output in XML format, those alias names will be printed. These are all custom fields we created for each employee. It will be stored all data like age, band, manager status, okay, data, address data, postal code, dependent information. So all this data will be from one employee here. Okay, like for each employee, one entry will be available. Report entry will be available for each employee data here. So this is our XML output file, and this can be delivered to XML system, third-party system when you download this file, when you run this integration. Okay. So we can download this file for 30 days here. Okay, when we document retention policy is 30 days, right? So that means this file will be in blue color and with hyperlink, with the hyperlink up to 30 days. Okay, after that it will be grayed out. We cannot click on download this file here. So since we choose, if it is an implementation tenant and sandbox, we choose a delivery method as a workday attachment. So attachment is nothing but, so this one we can, the output file will be attached in the integration here in the output file step. Okay. If it is a production, we have to deliver the file to the delivery third party system, right? So when I run the same integration, I know no need to configure the same again for production or any delivery steps here. Okay, as for the delivery current setup, when I run the same integration in production, when I deploy and run it, the file will be delivered to external system there. External system or third party system. Based on the configuration, we provided SFTP server name, user ID and password to connect that, and also directory where we need to place the output file. Okay. So when I run this integration in production and it's successfully completed, that means the file will be delivered to third party system here. So here for delivery transformation to any third party system or downstream system, we don't need any special tools or software required for that. So integration itself, it will connect as a fourth step. It will integration itself, it will connect to third party system and deliver the file. Okay. That is what we configured. So we configured, one is get data section, second one is the transformation, the final one is document delivery here. Okay. General data section is nothing but so we don't need to do any general configure anything in the general data section. Okay. Let's see. Go to actions. Again, I want to open that configuration which I made. Okay, go to actions here. Enterprise interface, edit it. So general data sections, we don't do anything. Usually let it be. integration generated names, integration IDs, we use it. The only thing we configure is get data section, transformation, and delivery. Okay. All three steps we configure. Get data section, we have a custom report name and custom data source we select, either it's a web service or a custom report. If it is a custom report, we need to choose custom report name. If it is a web service, we need to choose a web service name here and a data source. Okay. Transformation, we as I said, there are three different transformations. One is none, means without any transformation, we are sending an XML output, and the XML output will be generated by custom report here. Okay. The same XML output will be delivered to third party system. Okay. So if it is a transformation, is none. Okay. So there is one more transformation called, there are two more. Okay, custom report transformation, custom transformation. Okay, so this custom report transformation is the delivered transformation. Okay, workday delivered transformation. So we do transform the file from XML file to a dot file or a TXT file or a fixed length file. So we can convert into data into a different file format and send it using delivered transformation options. Delivered is nothing but custom report transformation is nothing but delivered transformation. There is a custom transformation here. Okay. Custom transformation is the place where we use our XSLT transformation. We write a code there. Okay, our XSLT code there. XSLT nothing but extensible style sheet transformation. Style sheet transformation. It's a language or a tool, kind of a language. We use that language to we use that language to read our XML file and transform into a different format. That is called custom transformation. Custom transformation will be writing up code. The custom report transformation, there is no code required. Just delivered configurations we need to do it. It's a delivered type of transformation. Just a configurations, with the configurations we can transform the file and transform the file into a different format and send into downstream system. But it's a custom transformation. We have to write up the code there and transform it. Okay. There is the two options here. Currently, I choose a none option. Without transformation, I just send the XML output file to external system there. Okay. In the delivery section. Next, to go to delivery section, we see different types of deliveries added here. For production, I choose one delivery option. For implementation and select sandbox tenant, I choose a different delivery option here. Okay. So this is because to avoid, mostly we do multiple deliveries because to avoid only like there is only one configuration here, delivery for all types. Okay. For this itself, this delivery itself, I can make this delivery to all tenants. Okay, this SFTP to all tenants. But suppose I want to send the output file, I don't want to send the output files to sandbox and implementation output files to, let it be. So when I run the integration in sandbox, okay, if I don't choose this environment restricted to production, the output file will be delivered to SFTP. When I run the sandbox, when I run the integration implementation, when I run the integration in sandbox, all the files will be delivered to same SFTP server, production SFTP server there. So in this case, we may accidentally or by mistakenly the downstream system or third party system can process the files. So implementation files they can process it, sandbox files they can process it. So sandbox and implementation doesn't contain the original data, right? It's a dummy data sometimes. Okay, so that means we are sending a dummy data to a real production environment where they can process it. Okay, so to avoid a dummy data or sample data which is available in sandbox or implementation tenant, so to avoid sending them into the third party system, so we choose different delivery methods here, one for production, one for sandbox and implementation. When I run the integration in sandbox and implementation, actually the delivery method will not be applicable here. It will take the workday attachment as a delivery method. It will not send the file to downstream system or external system. Okay, but the delivery to downstream system or external system, we only configure for production environment. Okay, when I run the same integration in production, then only it will be delivered to third party system here. So these are the difference between delivery. Why we choose multiple deliveries here to avoid sending sample test files or implementation data to external system, downstream system. We choose multiple delivery options here for one per production, one per sandbox and implementation. So this is about simple EAB. Like in next tomorrow class, we talk about multiple transformations here. Like we choose a transformation is done. Actually, we need to create another two integrations with the same type, one for custom transformation and one for custom report transformation. So we can see what is the difference between custom report transformation and custom transformation in tomorrow's class. So let me know if you have any questions, or else we can close this today's class here.